So it's been a very interesting week from last Tuesday to this Tuesday because each week, I know last week we talked about um, shadow work and the importance of doing that shadow work. So I had a real one-on-one, face-to-face with my shadow, and I'm going to explain a little bit of that later. But tonight is taking a bit of a turn because of what I experienced in the past week. So I'm going to share that with you tonight. I did not forget. I know I'm supposed to be speaking on how to control the negative thoughts and the shadow, right? That comes up. So we're still going to get to that. I'm going to push that to next week. But tonight, you're going to understand why I'm picking the topic that I'm picking. And it's going to bless all of you. Everybody in this chat is a parent, right? Everyone in this chat is a parent. I believe Kim, I know Jasmine, I know my mom. You're my mom, so I know you're a parent. Kim, I'm not sure. All right, everybody's a parent tonight. So this message is for parents. And it's a collective message because I am not a parent, but I am a parent, if that makes sense. So tonight's topic is about how being a parent impacts you and your shadow. Okay. So give me a ready in this chat if you're ready for my title tonight. If you're ready for my title tonight, season 1, episode 7, family. We are in episode 7. Yeah, I have a lot of children. I really do. I've had hundreds over the years. But this particular group of children that I have right now is why we're having this discussion tonight. So everybody's ready in the chat. So tonight's title is Parenting Through Your Shadow. Are you raising or projecting? Are you raising or projecting? Parenting through your shadow. Are you raising or are you projecting? This title, man, it came to me again. I told you from the events that have happened this week, and we're just gonna dive right in. And I need you to know that as I speak to you, it's from a perspective of being a parent to the 30 plus young ladies that I am now mothering right now. I'm mothering them at Snyder High School, where I am. They're with me on a daily basis, almost every day, and I get to watch them as teenagers. So one class is all sophomores, and then the other class is juniors and seniors. And in total, it's about 33 of them. And these young ladies are a number of things, but the main thing is that it's important for me to, as I have been working with them, it's important for me to instill in them what I know, guide them without projecting my own stuff. If that makes sense, give me a heart 100 in this chat if that makes sense. Wow. So Jasmine says, why do I always touch on what I just went through and not with my own child? That's just what the divine keeps telling me to do, is to speak regardless of what anybody has an opinion of. It's just like, this is the message. This is what Spirit told me to speak about. And I'm like, really? Like, I'm not even a parent. But it kept coming into my frequency all week about parenting, right? So it's just so important for us to raise our kids and not project onto them. Okay. So give me a ready in this chat. If you're ready for my 3 talking points tonight, I'm ready to give you number 1. Give me a ready in this chat. I got 3 talking points tonight about raising and not projecting through our shadow work. All Right. Mom Dukes is ready. My cousin Robin is in the building. She's ready. Who else is ready? We are talking about raising our children and not projecting onto them. Okay. Jasmine is ready. Okay. So the first important thing to note is that your triggers are not their burden. The things that trigger you, it should not burden your child. Okay? Sometimes our children's behavior is a direct result of your own stuff. That is what we call projection. You are treating your child in a way that has nothing to do with them. And you expect them sometimes to carry that burden for you. This is crucial. This is so crucial. And this is what we need. I need you to start understanding what it means to be a conscious parent. A conscious parent. A parent that thinks about their actions and behaviors and the impact that it has on your child, and not just act how you feel. You have to, now when you make that choice to be a parent, it is the hardest job in this entire world. I don't care what nobody says. Parenting, to raise a human, is hard work. It is extremely difficult. And unfortunately, no one teaches us about how to heal ourselves first before we become a parent. In most instances, we are learning as we go. So we can't place our own burdens onto our children. That's the first and most important thing I need you to understand tonight, is that you have to be conscious of your own stuff and not putting it on them. Okay? Can't put it on them. It's not theirs to carry. And too often, I'm witnessing in real time my teenagers carrying the weight of their parents. You know, I have, and I'm going to speak candidly about some of the things, I can't give names, but I have one child whose parent refuses to do anything around the house and expects her child to do everything. Yet she still has to go to school, do all the stuff. Her parent refuses to get a job. But yet this child is being expected to come home and then do the household stuff after she's spent the full day in school. Meanwhile, the parent has been home the entire day. That is the parent's burden that she's now placed on to the child. So now, how is that impacting the child? How is that the parent's burden impacting that child? I'm going to give you examples of this throughout the entire thing. So that's what's coming up. It's like, wow. But yet I feel helpless because there's nothing that I can do but teach that child how to speak up for herself. Right? That's all I can do is teach her how to speak up for herself and set boundaries with her own parent. And it should be the other way around. But now this child is in the position of having to set a boundary with her parent. Man, this is, it gets better. I don't know if it gets better, but it gets heavier, right? So point number 2. Most of us who have been parents, and I'm saying us, I'm still not a parent, but I'm a parent, right? So give me grace, y'all. Most parents are repeating the cycle. Point 2, I need you to break it, not repeat it. Break the cycle. Don't repeat it. When we do the shadow work, so remember, we're talking about shadowing. You're parenting through your shadow. When you're doing your shadow work, you have to sit with yourself to identify the patterns you don't want to recreate or repeat. So if there was something that you didn't get as a child, You cannot then turn around and do that same thing to your child just because you didn't get it. In fact, when you did not get it and you see that this is something that you wish that you had, you have a responsibility to give that to the child that you now are in charge of, guiding. So we have to break the cycle. You have to break the cycle. You chose to be a parent. So when you choose to be a parent, you have to heal your shadow. You have to heal your inner child, because when you heal your inner child, that allows you to be a better parent to your child. If that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. Give me a make sense in this chat. Give me a make sense. Am I saying stuff that makes sense, y'all? Give me a make sense in this chat. Please give me a make sense in this chat. I need to know that you're on board, you're locked in, you're understanding what I'm saying. I think too often, yes, my cousin Robin understands what I'm saying. I love that. Jazz, yes, making sense. Making sense. Good. Mama's making sense. Excellent. Okay. So now to the final point, and this is where I got to tell you some more stories, right? Because this is the nail in the coffin. When you do the shadow work, and you know the patterns of your history and your family's history, then when you heal yourself, that's when you raise them right. When you heal yourself, that's when you raise them right. And when you raise them right, and this is it right here. When you raise them right, you allow them to be seen. You allow your children to be seen. Children, at the end of the day, all they want to do is be seen. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be understood. And it works twofold. When you let them be seen, it also allows you to be seen. And here's the truth, whether you want to admit to it or not. Your children know you and see you, whether you think they do or not. They already see you. They already see you. They may not say anything, but they know everything. I'm telling y'all, I have been gifted to teach 33 of the most intelligent and self-aware young ladies I have ever come across, meaning they know more than I ever knew when I was in high school. And here's where I start to tell us a few stories to just prove it to you. So, when a few weeks ago I did an episode on grief, right? So I go into my class to begin talking to them about grief. And I threw out the question to them. These are my sophomore group. I threw out the question to them. How many of you know what the 5 stages of grief are? These are 15-year-olds, okay? Sophomores in high school. How many of you know what the 5 stages of grief are? Do you know? Raising their hand and just start shouting out the 5 stages of grief. They're like, oh, isn't it anger? Isn't it denial? Isn't it this? Isn't it that? All 5 of them, every single one, popcorn and the answers in the room. How many of you at 15 years old knew the 5 stages of grief? Let's be honest tonight. I know I didn't. Shoot, I've just now started learning the stages of grief within the past 4 or 5 years. Yes, they've been through it. I get Robin didn't know it, of course. Mom didn't know it, of course. So what does that prove? This generation, this younger generation is more aware than we are, with them more than we ever were. So yet you think that you're hiding things from them, but yet they already know without you even telling them. So if you're a parent and you're grieving, they can identify that and without you even knowing, because they know the 5 stages of grief. These kids are so aware. Yes, Jazz didn't even know. Now she knows because she knows from her own grief. So now you see, I'm dealing with children who we treat like children, but yet they're so aware. They're so aware. Story number 2. Last Friday, I go and I speak at this middle school of 8th graders, y'all. They were 8th grade. How old are 8th graders now? I don't even know. 12, 13, 12, 13 years old. 8th graders. So one particular young lady, we was very intense evening. I asked them one question: name one truth about yourself that most people don't know. That was the question. And as they are expressing themselves, so many of them began to shed tears and cry. And it blew me back, because each time I do this exercise, I never know how children are going to respond, and I never know what order the numbers, the letters that they're going to pick, and how it's going to impact the room. But that was the second question that we picked, and the girls, majority of them, are bawling their eyes out. You know what that told me? How come no one has ever asked them this question? Because this is the first time that they are letting it out. They're unseen. That was the first time they felt seen, just with a simple question like, name one truth not many people know about you. Tears flowing. So much so that one young lady left the room. Another young lady cried for at least 10 to 15 minutes. She had to be held. She had to be consoled. She couldn't even gather her emotions just from that one question. And I'm just like, wow. I didn't even know it was going to go that direction, but it did. And then the young lady that left, she never came back. But check this out. After the talk, she never came back, right? So after the talk, me and her counselor, we walked to her office, and in comes this young lady who left and never came back. She comes into the office. And when she comes into the office, I say to her, I said, what happened to you? Why did you leave? Her response was, nope. She just said, nope. She kept backing up away from me. She's like, nope. I see what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to do. I said, what am I trying to do? I said, I'm just trying to give you wisdom and knowledge and help you, you know? And she was like, but no, like, you're going to make me cry. So that young lady left because she didn't want to release her emotion, only to be redirected back to me when it was just her and I and the counselor and her friend in the room, and she got to feel seen. That young lady, I stood up, I took my coat off, I just hugged her. I wrapped my arms around her, and I told her, I see you. I said, I don't know why you chose to leave, but the fact that you're here with me right now is nothing but divine intervention. I said, you need to feel seen. I told her, you're beautiful. I know you've been through a lot. Yes, she needed to feel safe, and she needed an intimate setting in order to feel safe. She didn't want to cry in front of all of her peers. So when God redirected her back to me in a one-on-one setting, I held her. She cried on my shoulder for almost 5 minutes, and she just let it out. She just cried. This is somebody young lady, I'm just meeting for the first time. For the first time. And I held her and I held space. And I just say to parents, are you holding your children? Are you asking them how they feel? Are you comforting them? Are you allowing them to be seen? Are you listening to the things that they're dealing with and struggling with? Because for an outsider to come in and within minutes time that young lady cried on my shoulder the way she did, I just knew that she just needed to be seen. She just needed to be able to cry without judgment, without somebody telling her, stop crying. What you crying for? That's one of the greatest disservices we've done to our children, is to not allow them to express their emotions, to not allow them to be seen. This work, this temple's work, is so, so precious. Yes, Kim, not many parents hug their kids. Absolutely, not many. Not many. And this is my last story, and I'm going to end it with this. Just yesterday, and this is why I had to talk about this. I had to. There's no other solution to avoiding this conversation tonight, because just yesterday, I go to work and I have my classes. And yesterday, we're doing an activity on love languages and scenarios with love languages. And they were in groups, and they were rambunctious yesterday, like loud and just like all over the place. I keep trying to reel them back in. So, you know how I asked you guys your number. So they know that's our thing. Like we didn't have time to do it yesterday, where I asked them their numbers. So we didn't have time. I went right into the group activity. So as I keep getting them to get on task, one young lady says, Miss, what's your number today? Because I don't know, you off, right? So that made me like self-reflect for a second. I had to stop for a second. I'm like, I don't know. I said, maybe an 8. And she was like, I don't know. Something's off with you, right? So I'm like, wow. So when I said they already see you, first she saw me, right? I still don't know fully why I was off yesterday. Probably a little bit. I got a little bit of why, but she called it out. Again, my children called me out right away, knew I was off. So what am I saying? Your children know when you're off. They know. You can't hide it. They are intuitive to you. So my children that I see every day, they know me. They know when I'm off. They know when I'm not right. And she called it out. So then I brushed it off. Right? So I'm like an 8. But then, we get into the activity. Kid you not, y'all. The next class, because they're back-to-back classes. The next class, I go through the whole class. We have a great session and everything. At the end of the class, another young lady, calmly, smoothly, I mean, she did it so smooth. She walked up to me and said, Miss, are you okay? Y'all, I lost it. So I had that knot. I had the porker, y'all. I had a porker in my throat. And I'm like, yo, both classes, 2 different groups, identify the same thing in me. I had a choice in that moment. Do I make this young lady think she's crazy and pretend like nothing's wrong? Or do I, as the parent, be vulnerable and honest and direct about something that I'm dealing with? What do you think I chose? Put this in the chat, y'all. Kim laughing. What do you think I chose to do? What do y'all think I chose to do in that moment? What do you think I chose to do? I'm going to give y'all a second to respond. What do you think I chose to do in that moment? Kim says I was honest. Okay, who else? What else does anybody think? What do you think I chose to do? Kim says I was honest. Truth and identity. What was wrong? I think you were honest, Robin. Identify what was wrong. Yep. And Jazz. Come on, Jazz. What do you think I did? Do you think I was honest? Think I was honest? Truth and identity. Fact. I was honest. Fact. I was honest. And I was vulnerable. And because I do this temple work, I have to practice what I preach, and that is to speak your truth. Even if it's my daughter, right? Even if it's my student, it's the vulnerability that allows for authentic connection. You have to be vulnerable with the people that you love. I got vulnerable and I told her, with tears coming down my face, I said, honestly, I don't even know. I just know that whatever you just brought to the surface needed to come out. And I left it at that. And then later, because there were other kids, we were transitioning. It was the end of class and we were coming. At first, I just kind of walked away and I told her, you're not going to get me to crying right now. That's what I said to her, right? But then I called her to my office afterwards. And this is how I lifted her spirits and empowered her. This is what I did. And this is what I encourage you to do with your children. I said, thank you for seeing me. I thanked her. I said, thank you. I said, I didn't know what I was feeling, and I still don't know. I need time to process. I said, but just you asking me, am I okay? I told her, I said, you know, you have a gift. Not many people can read energy and know when somebody's not well or not feeling well or is off. And I empowered her and I said, you have a gift. And I said, I never want you to not practice this gift. You have an easy and simple way. The way that she walked up to me, y'all, I'm telling you, she waited till the end of class when nobody was near me to say, Miss, in a low tone at that, she said, Miss, are you okay? Y'all, I lost it. 15 years old. Miss, are you okay? So that's my message for y'all tonight. Are you okay? And are you allowing your children to see when you're not okay? They need to see it. They need to know that it's going to be okay, that emotions are real, that you can have a bad emotional day, but that doesn't mean you're bad as a whole. So I empowered her. I uplifted her. I thanked her. And I said, wow, you have a gift. And I said, your gift is simple in that when you read people and you see that they're not doing well, that's all you have to do. You don't have to judge anybody. All you have to do is say, are you okay? And when you ask people, are they okay? It completely disarms the ego. It completely disarms the wall, the guard that they may have up, because you care and you're concerned about their well-being. Robin, I'm so glad that you joined this call and that you got what you needed. Your kids always think that you're okay. You sure? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. They can read you. They can read you. They can read you better than you think they can. Kim, I encourage you to have that authentic and vulnerable conversation. Maybe, I'm telling you, they know more than you think they know. Some kids will choose to ignore it because they don't want to see their mom as weak, right? Or human. Sometimes they look at you as superhuman, you know, and you're just as much as a human as all of us. You go through the same emotions as all of us. And some of you need to stop trying to be so strong and stop trying to be so perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. None. So that's my word tonight. And going back to the original title, the importance of parenting your shadow is when you know these ins and outs about yourself, then you know when you're raising your child versus when you're projecting. When you are triggered and you're dealing with stuff that you kind of don't know how to handle and you projecting it onto them, kids feel that burden. They feel that weight. I need you to set your kids free. Set your kids free by telling them what you're going through, telling them your struggles, being honest, and then allow them to show up in a different way for you. Because when kids see and know your personal struggles, then they'll think twice about asking you for things all the time or burdening you with their own stuff too, because they have their own stuff. Yeah. Yo, Jasmine, your daughter is definitely a star seed. I know her. So she's super self-aware and she's super aware of you. Yep. She will hug you and let you know it's okay without you even uttering a word. I know that. I know that about your daughter. Yeah. So, family, if this was a blessing to you tonight, give me a heart. Give me some love in this chat. Give me some love in this chat, family. If this was a blessing to you tonight, I never know what the divine wants me to talk about, but I know that this is a message that needs to be out there. I'm gonna, bust it down into short clips because parents need to understand that they can make or break their child just by burdening them with their own trauma. You got to heal your stuff and stop projecting your trauma onto your children. That's my word for tonight. I love you, family. And just know that every single word that I bring to you is not a word of judgment. It's a word of encouragement and a word for you to take back and do the inner work. Do the 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 work. This is your girl, Karima, here to remind you that you are a sacred temple, live from the Sacred and Unfiltered podcast. I love you, family. And let's see what the divine has for us next week. But yes, the planetary alignment. It is so crazy. That's another reason why emotions are coming up. But everything is divine. All of it. Everything that we go through. I'll catch you next week, family. Who knows what spirit wants me to speak on. I do want to speak on how to work with the shadow and controlling the mind. But I'll save that for next week. Until then, I love you. You are a sacred temple. Have a good night. Peace and love.